my name is Kate Williamson. Welcome to the front page of my home page of my website, if that's where you found me, or welcome from YouTube. That's very exciting that you can do these things now, talk face to face. I thought I would have a little talk about my artwork, since we can do these things now. So what I really wanted to say particularly is that on my website my work is chronologically ordered, which can look a little bit random, and I think people have noticed that. But my works, because I work in one-off paintings, actually do fit into collections. There's 3 different collections of work that are distinctly what I do, and this one is one of them, and this is my latest painting, and this is a part of the Cockle Hunter series. So then I've been doing that series for years. But because when I finish one of these, I tend to do a different piece of work entirely, which could be my other collection of landscapes and places, or sky scenes, which I will put the collection on at the end of this in their slideshow form, so you can actually see them all together, which looks very uniform in actual fact. And and I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I actually paint. So I do have some YouTubes, of course, online of me painting, but this one here, because it's right here, I might as well talk about it. This one is painted mostly on the horizontal, like Jackson Pollock, so it's big outdoor, sort of, lots of energy, working the whole painting at the same time, and often moving the angles around with water on it to get the paints to actually blend on the canvas, which I always quite like that look. This can take many layers of paint, so in many days, and lots of nutting out. So, and in the end, what I like it to do is I like to be able to look at any piece of the painting and see the paint really expressing itself, like dancing on top, or dropping below, or floating. Texture, so in this piece too, I particularly wanted to push a new sort of phase in my work, which in actual fact people who have been purchasing my Cockle Hunter series over the years I've discovered, let me know what they actually see in my work, and I wasn't quite aware of it in such a way. So I thought, well, once I was twigged to what they were saying, I actually saw it more myself. Because I'm painting more intuitively, at times I'm looking at the piece totally as what it is, rather than what it is on the wall when seeing into it. I think that, it's funny that they can speak to people differently. Anyway, so this one here, I wanted to push more of the emotion, more of the emotional landscape, the inner reflections, and use the idea of water to create the surface where you can express abstractly that idea. Also, I like the idea of the little person and the dog being in their own world, but this big scene going on behind them. Because one of my old favourites, and I wonder whether or not this might have influenced me, because over the years, I know this sounds a bit silly, but is Brian Froud. And I've been a bit of a Froudian, must admit, and owning all of his books. And I just think when I was a teenager, these pictures especially used to really get my attention, because the little person here and here, I don't know if you can hardly see them, they're only penciled in, playing chess, and this big scene going on in the background, and I just think, God, how neat is that, and I think that maybe that might have influenced my work indirectly or directly, because I love big scale, but I also like the idea of with all my Cockle Hunter series, is having a big landscape, a big epic scene, lots of energy, making the paint express itself in a natural way as well as internally. And the people that are in my pictures are kind of making it seem a bit more real, so I don't know, I think that may be where a bit of influence has come from in the past. Also, I love Peter Doig, and he works on a giant scale. So I got this book off Amazon, but it's all in German, unfortunately. But anyway, the pictures are fantastic. And this is the blotter, and I think that's a really neat picture. And I like the way he's done his little reflections. And this is a reflection, what does your soul look like? And he also works in the same sort of way. He works in one-off pieces, but they all fit into their own collections afterwards. And the other person I particularly like is David Hockney. This is only a little book, but I really like his outdoor work. I love the avenue that he painted. I love all of his. I don't particularly like so much the work he did inside, which is his most famous work in every book that you see. I love his outdoor work that he did, and this big giant, squares that he did. And I love this little one with his dog Days, and I think that's gorgeous with his little dog that he did. And it's just a collection of, of obviously work that he felt he wanted to do, and those are his little pets. And of course, the most incredible person on the planet that ever lived, Van Gogh, and there's one of his. I just think that's incredible. I just think he's an amazing artist, and years and years and years ahead of his time, unfortunately. But that's the way it is, isn't it? He might have even been too far ahead of his time even now. But this is my workbook, or one of them. So it's all pretty. I like to just work fairly, loosely, just taking pictures and. This is a photo I took, and this is one of my sky scenes you'll see on my website. But I quite like to sort it out in black and white and just structure and lines rather than getting too hung up on detail or representation. So I need it to come from me. Like I said, it's a very intuitive process. And this is this one. So that's just so it's quite amazing to think that. You can sort of scribble a few pictures down and in the end it might come together if you're lucky. I mean, there are times when I've had to take them off the canvas and bury my head in sorrow and angst and all that because it hasn't worked out, but it's exciting when they do. Well, it is for me anyway. And it's exciting when they sell, and that somebody sees, and people see something profound or that they feel for. So that's exciting for me. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is that, like when I do landscapes and that sort of thing, is and icons, or I don't like Kiwiana, but I have painted the Earnslaw, Current Peak, the Bonspiel, the curling competition. I used to go to work on the other side of Walter Peak, so I caught the Earnslaw to work for a year. I used to do the horse trekking over there in Queenstown, and when the Earnslaw turned 100, I had great feeling for that, so I absolutely had to paint it. I painted a big painting of the Earnslaw on a giant scale, which was collected overseas from some people who live in Dubai who have 3 other works of mine: one Cockle Hunter, one of Milford Sound, and the Earnslaw. And the thing is that I want to paint the feeling of that I have for the affection of what it is. And when I did the Bonspiel, I didn't want to ice and mist is quite sepia, or pretty much it's colourless. But I wanted to paint the atmosphere of how fantastic everyone feels when they drop all their everyday life, go to Idaburn Dam. It's usually a pretty quick decision when the ice is thick enough, and they all have a great time over there, and it's just one of those neat natural events that people partake in, and I just thought that was neat, so I painted that in quite a lively, colourful way. But trying to be true to the to the nature as well, or the place. So when I do landscapes and landmarks, I don't want them to be corny. So so that's where I'm going. Anyway, you'll see at the end of this my collections of how they were. My website's all chronological, so that's just putting them on as I do them. So I hope that makes some sense and not too boring. Thank you very much for your time. Cheers.